In today's video, I want to talk about what I think all successful people have in common, or 99% of them. I've noticed certain traits in them. I've noticed something that I feel is a common denominator, and having listened to a lot of podcasts, watched a lot of interviews, read a lot of different books about the life stories of a lot of successful people, and I think I'm onto something. I have noticed something that I think is reoccurring in so many different cases that I want to share with you in this video. The chapters are on the screen. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content about health and wellness, self-development, guided meditation recordings, and healthy plant-based recipes. Let's get started. Okay, first up is what I think is the common denominator with a lot of successful people. Are you ready for me to reveal what I think it is? Okay, drum rolls please. Common denominator, I think, is that they have all used pain to help them succeed in their careers. There's an endless list of people that are really like big figures in society, and when you hear their stories, they all kind of are saying the same thing. A lot of them have experienced something at some point or the other in their lives that is painful, that is something that has happened to them personally, or something that's happened to them in their surroundings or the environment or whatever, that has given them this like drive and this motivation and this fuel to help them on their mission. I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure why human beings can't find that crazy hungry driving force from a place of peace and calm. I think that as human beings, for some reason, we are more powerfully driven by pain and hurt and anger and something negative. And so I think it's one of those things that like it either makes you or breaks you. It really does. I think some people, unfortunately, there are certain things that have happened to them, whether they were bullied or whether they went through, rough circumstances. And, unfortunately, it kind of maybe destroyed their lives. Like it really took over. It became this thing that kind of held them back from living their full potential, from living their ambitions and all of that sort of stuff. So I've seen that happen, of course, in many cases, whether it's people that I know or reading about certain personalities over the news or, over the media and all that sort of stuff. And there are others that have actually used that to fuel their purpose, fuel their success. And so I want to dive a bit deeper into this point and dissect it. And from there, hopefully that will help you figure out what it is for yourself and allow it to also drive you towards success. Let me give you a few examples just to demonstrate my point here. I'll give you a few names. For example, Jim Quick is somebody who is incredible and amazing, and I hope to meet one day. Talk about manifestation, put it out in the world. But his story is how he had a brain injury when he was a little child at school in a classroom. There was an accident and he had a really severe brain injury. He was made to feel quite stupid by teachers. He was told that he's never going to succeed and all that sort of stuff. He had a pivot. There was a moment in his life where later on, one of his friend's fathers basically kind of told him that really what's stopping him, what's between him and success is his brain, what he thinks is possible, not possible. Anyway, today he is a super successful brain coach. So he's somebody obviously that went through a hardship, something that was really a struggle. There was adversity in his story, and he really used that and accomplished the extreme opposite, where he's teaching people how to improve their thinking and how to maximize the potential of their brain and look after the health, their brain health and all that sort of stuff. That's just one example. Another example is like Russell Brunson. Like he's somebody who talks about his struggle initially, even financially, where he was trying to figure out, like trying to be an entrepreneur and all that. And he was at a point where he wasn't, really making any money, and they were having a lot of financial struggles. And then his wife stepped in at the time, and she was helping support them financially, with her job and all that sort of stuff. And that drove him to want to do better and succeed and all that sort of stuff. So he used that hardship of financial struggle and really then gone on to become super successful. And then there's countless of examples of people that were overweight and that they were bullied for their weight or their looks, and then they've gone to grow up and be adults and then completely transform their health and go on this health journey, weight loss and all that, and then they become the experts and the coaches and the advocates. They've taken that pain and that struggle, and then not only have they used that to succeed, but they've done the complete opposite. And another person is Alex Hormozy. He was like, really, he's quite smart, he was doing well, I think, in his studies, and I think his father discouraged him from wanting to be an entrepreneur, if I remember correctly, if I remember his story correctly. And then he went on to be super successful. And when he was starting out and he was struggling, I think the idea, and I heard this in one of his interviews, to have to basically put his tail between his legs and go back to his father, and for the idea of him failing in his journey as an entrepreneur and kind of saying like, I failed, and to then basically have his father be right about telling him not to leave his predictable, safe, structured education or career to then go on to like pursue what actually made him happy in a very ambiguous, vague, uncertain path, was daunting to him to like have to accept that his father was correct, and affected their relationship significantly. And I don't even know if they, from what I understood from the interview, I don't even know if he speaks to his father or not, but he's taken the idea, like, because his father didn't support him or believe in him, that the thought of having to go back to his father and fail, and having whether to ask for help or for his father to have been correct about not believing in him, was so painful, and something that he wasn't willing to make a reality, that it drove him to succeed. And he talks about that openly, and I see also in myself, like, when somebody says I can't do something, that's exactly what I need to hear to make sure I work 10 times harder than I currently am to succeed in that thing. Unfortunately, it does make or break people. It does, I think, in hardships, unfortunately, do make people crumble and cocoon in the emotion and the struggle of fear and lack of self-worth and lack of confidence and stuff. And for others, it becomes a driver. So my point is, everybody has a pain point. Everybody has a struggle. Everybody has something that's happened to them. I think, pain and hardships and anger exists in different capacities in everybody's lives. While, of course, it's important to try to heal from them, to release them so that they don't block us from succeeding in our life and being happy and flourishing, and not carrying negative things from that into different aspects of our lives, because I believe that everything's connected. Something that can happen in your personal life can affect your career, because it really has knocked you down with your confidence in one aspect. This plays out in a different aspect of your life. I think that also, more likely than not, almost everyone, I would say, has some sort of story, whatever it might be. How can you use that adversity? How can you use that pain? How can you use that anger and channel it into a more positive, productive, helpful way that can help you move forward in your life? Look at it as an opportunity. Don't fall into the trap of surrendering or giving up. Now, obviously, I say this with a completely open mind and open heart, and I mean it with the best intentions. Obviously, it's something that is really hard, that they've experienced and negative. Of course, seek professional help as and when needed. Of course, that goes without saying. But what I mean here is, for most of us, these are things that have happened, and use that in a way that will help you succeed in life. I think I saw in a movie, George Clooney movie, if I'm not mistaken, and Catherine Zeta-Jones, I don't know, it was just a movie, but there's something about it that really sunk in at the time, and it basically was saying that if only people worked at their marriage as hard as they did when they're getting a divorce, their relationship probably would have worked out. Meaning that, when a couple, for example, I mean, obviously this doesn't apply to everybody in any case, but it makes sense. There's something there that like kind of made me laugh and made sense. But you see people getting divorced, and like super nasty divorces. For some reason, like, when they're getting divorced, they've got like the full ammunition, like they're going hard, like they are being super creative, they are fueled with energy and drive, and this, like, so much time and effort is putting in that divorce battle, right? But if only they use all that energy, drive, effort when they were married to try to make that relationship work, could it have actually worked out if people were trying that hard? Nonetheless, it's a huge motivator for many and majority, and I think we should use it to our favor. So the last thing I would say is, maybe sit down with yourself and really think through what it is that has caused you pain, what it is that makes you angry, and use that. Like, if it's a bad breakup, like how can and it's knocked down your confidence and you want to prove that you are worthy and whatever, and it's driven you to like launch a business to make sure it's successful, and you know, whatever. I'm not promoting unhealthy ways of doing things for the wrong reasons or doing things out of spite. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we all have pain in us. I would say most of us, if not all, have something. The last thing I want to say is like, also I remember seeing a video of a successful businesswoman investor that was basically saying that she would invest in a poor person before she would invest in a rich person, because their drive and hunger and adversity in life will give them a really, more likely than not, as an entrepreneur when she's investing in businesses, give them much more drive and grit and ambition to succeed, versus somebody who's rich who is not as hungry to succeed or as hungry for the money, because they have a roof over their head, they have money in the bank, they're not as hungry for it. And she went on to then say that she would even invest in a poor person with a disability as even more of a driver, because people in those cases have even more ambition and more drive and more thirst for success. Take that and let it be your anchor and your drive and fuel to success. I hope you found this video useful. If you like videos like this, you're gonna find more content like that on my channel, so please make sure to subscribe. And you also find other stuff like healthy recipes and guided meditation recordings, because I do believe that we should all approach health, of course, in a holistic way and working on our mind, body and soul. So I really believe that all these things come together really well and complement each other and need each other for you to thrive. Hope you liked the video and see you in the next one.